Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be doing another weekly track roundup. Chilled out, relaxed this weekend quite a bit, but now we're back, hitting the ground running. I'm excited to get through these tracks with you. And yeah, let's get to it. Of course, I have to shout out a few things. For one, our sponsor in this video is the wonderful people over at Squarespace.com. Squarespace.com/theneedledrop. Use promo code NEEDLE and get 10% off once you sign up and start your own website. They have 16 brand new beautiful layouts and templates that you can use, so sort of coming through with your own distinct design and website is easier than ever. Of course, it's an all-in-one platform as usual, so there's no plugins or downloading or altering or anything like that. It's all in one. It's all in one package. Of course, they have their award-winning customer support, which is 24/7. It's easier than ever to transfer your domain over there if you have a pre-existing website or start your own domain. And also, they have a new feature where you can sort of start your own little online store. And pretty much everything here I can personally attest to because I myself have my site hosted on Squarespace. TheNeedleDrop.com is hosted on Squarespace. It is a Squarespace site. And I gotta say, since I switched over to Squarespace, I don't have to worry about my site being up anymore. You know, it used to be down all the time. It was such a headache. It was so annoying to update sometimes too. And it's just easier with Squarespace. It's just easier with Squarespace. So there you go. Link to our sponsor is down there in the description box. Shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring this wonderful edition of the weekly track roundup. Also down there is our Amazon Associates link, which if you click on it, and it sends you over to Amazon. Anything you buy after that, we get kickback from it. Does not add to your overall price. And use it to buy some stuff you were going to buy anyway. Support the channel, support this segment. And excellent, exciting news. This link now works if you live in Canada and the UK. So the US, Canada, UK, use that link. It works for you. Before it was only for people who lived in the US, but now it's for people who work in the UK and Canada too. Or it works for people in the UK and Canada as well. So very exciting news with that. And also we have our Turntable Lab link down there. The good people over at Turntable Lab have a wonderful online store of colorful records and pressings of records that I have reviewed on the channel on a page linked down there in the description box. There's also some audio equipment out there on that page, some turntables, some speakers, audio equipment for the budding vinyl collector in your life, or maybe it's you. Christmas is coming up. Treat yourself. And that's all I got to say. Okay? I'll shout out Squarespace one more time before the video is over because I am gracious for their sponsorship. And let's get into the worst tracks. The worst tracks of the week. We're making some pretty good time here, I think. All right, the worst tracks of the week. What is the first one that I wanted to shout out as being one of the worst of the week? This first one I'm pretty disappointed in. It's not the worst I've ever heard from them, but I'm pretty disappointed in it. Unfortunately, it is the newest track from Sleigh Bells, who have a new track, or rather a new album coming out very soon. The song is titled Rainmaker. And so they borrowed this chord progression from a previously released piece of music. And while it is a decent chord progression, I don't know, the song is just kind of tired. It doesn't really kind of have that gutsy arena rock, bratty kind of feel that I liked so much from their last album. It sounds almost like they're trying to just make, I don't know, just regular bland electro pop that's really shouty and kind of has some annoying production on it. I'm hoping that they kind of keep their attitude on this forthcoming record of theirs. While I don't begrudge them the desire to mature, I think that's part of what made their last record so interesting. I don't know. I'm hoping that they don't kind of boil their sound down and just kind of make it super safe so that people who weren't into the band before sort of matriculate over now that some of their older fan base has kind of evaporated because, they're no longer kind of a buzz band at this point, but they're still putting out some decent stuff. Moving on from there, the new Rhye song, Taste. This to me is when sophisti pop just faintly hops over that very, very, very faint border between that particular genre of music and just plain old boring pop without much in the way of a strong melody or an exciting groove or vocal performance. This just felt like, I don't know, just like stale water to me. Stale, dusty stale, dusty water. Just a warm glass of water in an old plastic cup with a nice, like, healthy caking of dust around the top of it. That's how this felt to me, unfortunately. Wasn't really digging much more the new track from Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. Of course, Noel was not going to let this year go without a record from him, or at least, this span of time, rather, because Liam, of course, just dropped his new album a while ago, As You Were. And this new track over here, I can appreciate what Noel is trying to do here. Like, it's a little experimental. It's a little out there. Like, about 2 minutes in, I was like, okay, is the song going to start soon? Because it's such a weird, spacey, instrumental moment. But once I sort of realized that that's the direction he was going in, it just kind of turned me off just how whack some of the lyrics were, how over-compressed all the instrumentation was. Like, there was no breathing room at all. A lot of the instrumentation sounded really, like, smooth and digital and hideous. Aesthetically, it was just not pleasing at all. And for something as experimental as it's trying to be, it doesn't really keep me on the edge of my seat or keep me engaged with, I don't know, like the jam of it or the performance of it, even though it's clearly like way overproduced and like not organic in any way, shape, or form. Like, if you're going to come together with something like this, have it be a live, organic, in the moment recording with kind of like a human touch on it. Don't overproduce it to the point where it sounds like a robot's making it. Yeah, I was not into this new track over here. It's titled Fort Knox, by the way, and unfortunately was not really digging the new Morrissey track either. I kind of like the lyrics on this cut. The song is titled I Wish You Lonely. But unfortunately, the production on this track is hideous. Sometimes Morrissey's vocal inflections can get slightly goofy, but that kind of comes with the territory in this leg of his career currently. I kind of came into this expecting that and didn't really mind the vocals for the most part. It's really kind of the hideous synthesizers all over this track that really do not fit his style, that sound super clunky, super out of place, not really all that well performed or sort of smoothed into the instrumental. Like, instrumentally, I would have gone back to the drawing board on this maybe 4 different times until it actually came out sounding halfway decent. I was not digging the instrumental on this at all and completely ruined any hope that the track had of being truly memorable or enjoyable, honestly. But let's move on to the tracks that I was pretty meh on. There we go. New Tune Yard song, unfortunately. Look at Your Hands. This new track to me was kind of safe for Tune Yards, to be completely honest. It was not really as kooky or as fruity or as off the wall. Certainly not the international music influences that I typically get out of Tune Yard's music. But not to say that they need them to be successful and that they need them to actually make good music. Not necessarily 100% the case. But in this particular instance, the instrumental, taking those elements out, it's like they haven't swapped anything else in, and the final result is just really bland, really kind of run-of-the-mill, felt almost like just your average kind of indie dance pop tune. And the lyrics are easily some of the most uninteresting that I've ever heard in a Tune Yard song. So, I don't know. I'm just kind of hoping that future material on this forthcoming record is a bit more bold, is a bit more interesting, because this was not really exciting in my opinion. Let's move on from here to the new Sufjan Stevens songs, or rather, song. He has a new project coming out that's essentially like a mixtape or a compilation of B-sides and demos and remixes from, Carrie and Lowell, and this new track, whose chord progression you will probably be familiar with. John My Beloved is, very, very nice, very enjoyable tune. And, nice sort of raw acoustic cut. Moving on from there, new Sam Smith ballad. He has a record coming out very soon. The track is titled Burning. And it's a nice track. It's a nice ballad. Sam's vocal performance on here is pretty passionate. I wouldn't say melodically it's the best he's ever done, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to this new record of his, even though I haven't been hyping it up too much. I do think he is one of the more mature and one of the more interesting songwriters in the mainstream right now, of which there are very few. And, looking forward to sort of seeing if he can kind of grow past that, that big debut splash that he made into something that seems a little bit more personal and a little less, squeaky clean. It's because there were moments on his last record that I thought were just like, this is like clearly a track that you're just throwing out there for the pop fans. These new tracks that I've been hearing, it sort of sounds like he's trying to go maybe more of like the route of Adele's last album and coming through with something that is a little bit more organic and maybe a little bit more real. And just wish him all the luck in the world with this new record, because I'm liking what I'm hearing so far. Moving on from there, I dig the new Hooded Menace track. It's titled Charnel Reflections. And if you really dug the new Pallbearer album, I think you're going to like what this track has to offer over here. It's got like this... it's slow, it's doomy, it's heavy, it's apocalyptic, and it has, of course, those soaring harmonized guitar leads and solos that Pallbearer fans like and love, but it has kind of these death metal growled vocals at the forefront of it that kind of sets them apart a little bit from a lot of their contemporaries who are also doing, those melodic, slow, doom type dirgy songs. And it's not bad, it's not the most exciting thing I've ever heard, but it kind of has me... interest peaked for this forthcoming record. Franz Ferdinand has a new track out titled Always Ascending. The vocals are kind of goofy. Vocals are very goofy. So are the lyrics. But damn, this instrumental is tight AF. It is tight AF. It's a nice, solid alternative dance single. Very fun, very flavorful, very interesting, lots of character, and lots of excitement coming out of the beat here. And I don't know, hopefully the new record is good. Hopefully the new record's good. They certainly got a good groove going here. I will say, the vocals, they are still very kind of clumsy and weird, but, the Franz Ferdinand, for the most part, they still got it. They still got it. Kind of digging the new First Aid Kit track over here. It's titled Postcard, and it's kind of this weary, tear in your beer kind of country tune. It's not the usual close harmony, ascending, epic, and inspiring indie folk that they typically do, which I think is a good thing. Kind of a change in pace for First Aid Kit, I think, has been long overdue. And even though, it's not the most biting or memorable song I've heard in this style, I think they are taking to this style of music very well. So I'm looking forward to, potentially them doing more of this and maybe exploring some other sounds on this forthcoming album too, because with them kind of breaking away from their trademark sound, I think that's going to leave open space for them to try, really anything. And, anything at this point as far as risk-taking from First Aid Kit is, welcomed, at least from me anyway. So looking forward to that. And the new Amine single, Squeeze, is pretty good. It's short, it's super short, but it's kind of a quirky, weird, off-the-beaten-path banger with some weird pitched vocals, pitched high, pitched low. It's very cartoony. It's very colorful. There's just not a whole lot of structure to it, but some funny bars, and his sharp sense of humor comes through in a lot of ways on those lyrics. So shout out to him, and shout out to this single. All right, let's get into the tracks that I thought were the best of the week, the best tracks of the week. Oh, man. I got some good tracks over here that I got to shout out that I'm pretty excited to turn you guys on to. One, YACHT has a new EP out. It's, the Strawberry EP. And the first track from it, it's titled Shame. And it is a weird, tight, tense, post-punky banger with a great beat, great driving beat. The vocals get kind of shouty. Jeremy, who edits some of the videos, said it kind of reminded him of Sleater Kinney, and I would tend to agree. The vocal performance on this track anyway. In my opinion, it's one of the better tracks they've come out with in a while. I thought some of the other material on the EP was kind of a bit of a snooze, but I thought this new track from this EP was very good. Want to give a shout out to a new artist, or at least an artist who's new to me, whose name is Rina Sawayama. And how I came into her music is Clarence Clarity has produced her new record, new project, and this single of hers is titled Take Me As I Am, and it sounds like an amazing like mid-2000s or like late 90s, early 2000s Christina Aguilera style pop banger. Great melodies, great hooks, great production. It has that, seriously like aughties pop, like dance pop vibe to it, but kind of those weird, quirky elements that you expect from Clarence Clarity's music come through in here big time, but not so heavy that it would turn off like your average pop fan. Like I could show this to a lot of different people, and they would definitely dig not only what Clarence is doing, but what Rina is doing as well, because her vocals are pretty good. Like she embodies that pop style to a T on this track, and I'm looking forward to hearing more of what she's doing on this new record of hers too. Especially if, her and Clarence work together so well on this track, how well they work together on the subsequent tracks, is could be even more exciting. So I'm really digging this track. It's a great pop banger. All right, moving on from there, I dig the new Porches track quite a bit, Find Me. What I've been hearing from Porches lately, it seems like there's not a whole lot of stylistic consistency, but not necessarily a bad thing because the tunes have all been good in my opinion. This new track over here has like a bit of a moody alternative dance vibe to it. I love the lyrics. I love the very subtle vocal harmonies on here. It's a very pretty tune with a very easygoing groove to it. It's danceable, but it is very relaxing as well. I just kind of like the mood. I like the vibe of the track. I like what Porches has been doing lately because early on some of the lo-fi stuff was a little bit of a turnoff for me, but it seems like the sound is really maturing into something that's quality as far as sound goes and songwriting goes. So I'm pretty excited to hear what Porches is going to be doing with this new record. I dig the new Migos single. Nicki Minaj, Cardi B are on it. Instrumentally and flow-wise, it's kind of your standard Migos affair, but the hook is decent, and Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, I think, bring quite a bit to the song. And I believe this is going to be on their next full-length album, Culture 2. And I did enjoy Culture 1, not expecting they're going to blow Culture 1 out of the water, or just Culture, rather. But, still looking forward to the record. Still looking forward to it. And I dig the single quite a bit. It's a banger. It's a banger. All right, next, Krallice has a new record out, and it is kind of on the short side like a lot of their recent releases, but this one is a collaborative project with Dave Edwardson of Neurosis, who provides some synths on this project, who provides some vocals on this project. And honestly, even though I've been kind of underwhelmed by Krallice's latest work, like they've kind of drifted away from the black metal sound that I enjoyed them having when they came onto the scene and have gone into more of a technical, kind of grimy, blackened death sort of style that reminds me of a lot of Colin Marson's other projects. I have been sort of disappointed by that, but honestly, what I've heard of this project so far, specifically this track over here that I'm linking you guys to, the song Rank Mankind, kind of sounds like Dave's involvement here is kind of bringing the band a little bit of new life here. I mean, the vocals are excellent. The performance is really exciting. Sure, the production is still like a tad muddy, but like the performance is really muscular. The playing is really muscular. Like it is some badass technical and throttling metal music. And again, the vocals really just kind of like brought this song just inched it past that edge to being like, wow, this is like one of the best tracks I've heard this week. But yes, really enjoyed that. Enjoyed this new track from Friendship, a Philly band that I was turned on to by the good people over at Stereogum, I think. And it's just kind of like a very low-key, very sad and forlorn, like little pop tune. There are elements of the vocals and storytelling that kind of remind me of like old Simon Joyner or something like that. If you guys aren't familiar, please do check him out. He's one of those sad sack songwriters who came out with a lot of great stuff in the 90s, who I highly recommend. And this kind of struck me as being in that same vein, but kind of having a bit of a instrumental style of its own. And just kind of liking what I'm hearing here and looking forward to the new record. This next band over here that I wanted to shout out have a wild song on their Bandcamp titled Choila. And the name of the band is DADHELO, DADHELO. And these guys are a grindcore band from Nepal, and they're like soaring guitar solos on this track, wild vocal layers, like insane drumming and guitar work. Like it's super noisy and frantic and spastic and technical, but yet also like throttling and gruff and visceral and to the point. It's kind of like a nice balance between an amazing amount of energy and power and throttle and an amazing amount of detail and like kind of personality and zaniness. Which I kind of like, you know, I kind of like every once in a while with my grindcore. So definitely check this track out. Check this band out. They have a new record out soon. As is the case with one of my favorite hip-hop duos, Armand Hammer, who of course features Billy Woods and Elucid. And they have a new track out titled, I want to get this right, It Was Written. And obviously, flow-wise, lyrically, it is as impressive as everything that we've heard from Armand Hammer on their last album. Instrumentally, it's really cutting edge. I will say, you know, just as cutting edge as some of the instrumentals from like Billy Wood's History Will Absolve Me, which I really loved. And, you know, it's just like some really ahead of the curve, grimy, dark, underground hip-hop. And Elucid and Billy, I think, continue to kind of grow this chemistry that was very natural to the both of them when they first came out with Armand Hammer, first came out with that debut record. Now it seems like they're working together even better on this new track over here, complementing each other even better. And I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Those were the best tracks. Those were the meh tracks. Those were the tracks that I thought were the worst tracks. Again, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor in this video, the good people over at Squarespace. Hit up squarespace.com/theneedledrop. You'll see the promo code on your screen over there. And start your own website for your full-time business, for your passion, for your side thing, whatever it is. And also, again, our Amazon Associates link works for people in the UK, the US, and in Canada, and the good people over at Turntable Lab as well. Thank you guys for supporting this segment, and thank you for watching this segment. You guys are the best. I'll see you guys in the next video, the next review. I'm going to hit you guys with a full week of reviews this week, as usual. And that's all. Love you guys. Thank you. Aha. Wow.